Hello and good evening and welcome to Sports News. We've got the latest from you from all sporting arenas that you love, that is cricket and of course hockey and football too. But let's begin with our top stories at the moment. Cheteshwar Pujara's ton helps India fight back against Australia. India fought their way to 250 for 9 at stumps on day 1 of the Adelaide Test. Pakistan leg spinner Yasir Shah becomes the fastest bowler to pick 200th Test wicket, breaks pre-World War II record. In the Hockey World Cup, the Pool 18s return to action as Spain locks horns with New Zealand in the first match. Argentina starts favourites against France. In football, Liverpool closes in on Manchester City as 2 points separate them from leaders Manchester City. Arsenal held by Manchester United in a 4-goal thriller. Alright, first up we're talking about all the updates coming in from India's tour down under. Well, Cheteshwar Pujara struck a fighting Test century, his 16th, to take India to 250 for 9 at stumps on day 1 at the Adelaide Oval on Thursday. The third session of the day saw Cheteshwar Pujara defy the Australian bowling unit as he not only reached 5,000 Test runs but also scored his first century in Australia. Here's more.
India's start to the much-hyped series couldn't have gotten off to a worse start, with their batsmen competing for the wooden spoon for shot selection. Winning the toss came as an advantage for Virat Kohli, but the batting yet again failed to come to terms with Australia's persistence. Josh Hazlewood set the tone early with a probing first over, which also resulted in KL Rahul edging a full white ball to third slip. Murli Vijay was tested on both sides of the edge by Hazlewood and by the short ball from Stark before finally falling through a soft drive. Kohli came in with similar intent, but that too yielded similar result. At 19 for 3 in the 11th over, the toss advantage had been nullified. Just when there was semblance of partnership building though, Australia struck back again through Hazlewood and again through an inexplicable loose drive from Ajinkya Rahane. With some extra batting cushion with the inclusion of Rohit Sharma, India still had the depth to stage a comeback. And Rohit along with Pujara steadied the ship for a while, putting on 45. Rohit though was increasingly on the attack, hitting as many as 3 sixes in his 37. But Rohit was not done with the intended attack against Leon. He tried another loft off the next ball and skied a simpler catch to Harris. Rishabh Pant's brief stay saw him play a mix of wild swings and watchful defence, but he too fell, nicking a Leon off break for 25. Through the flurry of wickets, Pujara remained steadied at the other end. Shortly after tea, Pujara went to a 153-ball half-century with a flick of his pad to fine leg. It was a lesson in everything the rest of the top order had failed to heed. Pujara showed India the value of patience in waiting for the ball to soften and the bowlers to tire. He moved into the 90s with a top-edge hook for 6. India's 6th 6 of the day. A rasping pull for 4 took him to 99 and Pujara then clipped Mitchell Stark wide off mid-on to reach 3 figures mark. His first in Australia and his 16th overall. With just tails to give him company, Pujara went on the offensive. But Pat Cummins has other ideas. A super swoop from mid-on and an accurate throw while diving saw Pujara dismiss for a masterly 123. India finished day 1 at 250 for 9. Sports Desk, DD News.
Well, Cheteshwar Pujara's first century in Australia kept India alive on the first day of the opening match of the 4-test series in Adelaide on Thursday. After the match, Cheteshwar Pujara said he was not bothered about sledging during his marathon innings that included 246 deliveries.
Well, it is one of my top innings in Test cricket. I could say top 5. I can't rate whether it was one of the best, but yeah, the way the teammates were appreciating, they said that this was one of the best. Well, to be honest, we should have batted better, but they also bowled well in first two sessions, and I knew that I had to stay patient and wait for the loose balls, but the way they bowled, I think they bowled in the right areas. And I also felt that our top order should have batted better, but we'll learn from the mistakes and put up a better show in the second innings.
And Pujara didn't blame the batsmen for a poor show and said the pitch had some advantage for the bowlers. He said he'll share his experience with the Indian bowlers ahead of the Australian innings.
I would say it's a decent total because there is enough turn. Ashwin will also come into play, and it's not an easy wicket to bat on. Sometimes when you are seeing it on TV, it doesn't look like it is doing a lot. But when I batted in first and second session, I felt that it's not easy to bat on. And yeah, our fast bowlers, I'll share my experience of what line and length to bowl on this pitch.
An Australian pacer, Mitchell Starc, was satisfied with his team's bowling effort on the day, that is day one, but rude that it allowed India to wriggle out of a precarious position in the opening test in Adelaide on the first day.
It's probably not a wicket that's been in the past with the pink ball, so I think it's probably a bit of a new ball wicket where it obviously swung around a little bit. There were times where it was a little bit off the seam, but for the most part it was a pretty nice wicket. And look, I thought we bowled really well for 4 hours, probably pretty well for another hour, and probably got it a bit wrong at the end there. But full credit there, Pujara battled a lot of time. He's someone who likes to absorb pressure and bat a long time, and credit to him, he scored a fantastic 100 today. So, but yeah, look, I think if you asked us at the start of the day if we'd take, obviously losing the toss and being 9 for 250 at stumps, I think we'd bite your arm off.
All right, it's time to bring in my colleague Tapas Bhattacharya for a chat about how the day went for Team India in Adelaide, and not much to rejoice there as far as the batting is concerned, except for Cheteshwar Pujara. And what more do you say about this guy, except for calling him perhaps the Wall 2.0?
Absolutely, and Cheteshwar Pujara showed that this is the, I mean, you commit the hour, commit the man. This is the guy. Before the start of the match, Ian Chappell, one of the legends of Australian cricket, said that Cheteshwar Pujara should be dropped in favor of Rohit Sharma. Well, how you answer? You come up with the innings of your life. You scored 123 runs. Bulk of your scores came through tough situation. And you respond to such criticism who believe that probably you don't deserve the chance. So that is how Cheteshwar Pujara answered those critics. Remember this, when Rahul Dravid was playing, Rahul Dravid for half of his career, especially the initial half of his career, had to respond to such criticism. Yes. And these are the things, the small adjustment in your technique, small the way you play your shots. These are the things that will go on to make you what you are as a player. And these are the things that needs to be done in international cricket. Having said that, one would say that Indian team probably will feel short by at least 100-150 runs. Why I'm saying that? If you take a close look at the wicket, this Adelaide Oval wicket, it doesn't look like a typical Australian wicket. Okay. It had that bounce, it had the pace, but there was no lateral movement per se. So if you take that into consideration, you would say that Indian batsmen, apart from Virat Kohli, obviously one would say that the catch by Usman Khawaja was a top-notch catch, and we will come on to that later on. But apart from him, most of the batsmen went out to a sucker balls, if I may use the word. So there were deliveries that they could have probably left out. There were deliveries that they could have probably not played.
It almost seemed as if right from the top order that there was a strategy after Kohli won the toss and decided to bat, that they're going to play with aggression. It's just that that strategy fell flat on its face.
It looked like, when the way the opening batsmen started their innings, and also
the way they went after Nathan Leon, one felt that it was premeditated. They probably should have waited some time to settle down and then play their shots.
I mean, look at the way Rohit batted. Even after losing so many wickets, he was still,
going after,
and he got out lofting as well.
Absolutely. And remember, he already hit 3 sixes and he was looking in good form. So the idea at that time, 4 wickets were already down. He was the guy who was supposed to steady the ship along with Cheteshwar Pujara. So one would have thought that they would have, stayed for at least a session and then probably taken the game to the bowlers. Remember, this Australian bowling lineup doesn't have a fifth bowler, so basically they are going with a four bowler strategy. And in that also
India
they
has
have
also done the same. We'll see that
absolutely
tomorrow.
But again, if you take a look at the way they bowled, they had a plan. All these pacer had a plan to go after Indian batsmen. The first 10 overs, the average speed of an Australian pacer in the first 10 overs was 144 km. And this is the fastest in the whole year they have bowled.
Okay.
And if you take a look at the next 24 overs, the average speed was 142. So that again is the most pacey bowling that the Australian bowling lineup has done in the whole year. So the idea was that they will bowl flat out with the pace, and at the same time
that wouldn't bother our top order much. I mean, they love pace.
Yeah, they do.
And Cheteshwar Pujara showed that you can just keep your bat close to your body, watch every ball carefully, and still get a century.
See, that is where the difference between Pujara and rest came out quite starkly. Here is a guy who is a grafter, who stays and who makes the bowler, ball to him rather than going after the bowler. And the other batsmen are more of what you call stroke makers, and they went after the bowling, and that's where the difference lies. He made sure that when the bowlers are tired, he will attack them. The other batsmen, the stroke makers, I'm coming to them. They actually went after the bowling, and they got out to terrible shots. You have to question their shot selection while the pitch
was Pujara trying to console the other batsmen by saying that the wicket is not as simple as it looks, and India will also have something for it there when the bowlers come on?
Well, one would say that because the way Nathan Leon was bowling, it didn't look like a first-day pitch in Australia. We have seen Australian pitches for the last 15, 20 years. It has slowed down a big time. But a spinner or an off-spinner getting a turn, getting a bite from the pitch, getting that bounce, that loop. The way Nathan Leon was bowling, in fact, Rishabh Pant was all at sea. And when even Rohit Sharma went after him, he got lucky a couple of times, but third time he got out to a silly shot. So one would have thought, probably they should have waited for the bowlers to get tired. Probably the idea in a test match is that you give the first session to the opposition and then take the next 2-3 sessions to you. So that is the whole idea of a test match, especially when you are visiting outside the subcontinent in England and Australia.
Let's hope that we get a better display of batting by the Indian side in the second innings. Of course, we have to deal with Australia in the first before that. And, let's hope that our bowlers can also make a quick work of the Australian batting, just like ours fell to their bowling. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment, Tapas Bhattacharya. Okay, now Pakistan leg spinner Yasir Shah created history as he broke an 82-year-old record during the third test against New Zealand in Abu Dhabi on the fourth day, picking his fifth wicket in the match, dismissing William Somerville for 4. Shah completed his 200th wicket milestone in the longest format, becoming the fastest bowler to do so. The right armour broke a pre-World War record set by Australian Clary Grimmett in 1936 by requiring only 33 tests to reach the landmark. Grimmett, on the other hand, had reached the figures in his 36th test. Former Australian seamer Dennis Lillee and former Pakistan pacer Waqar Younis, who both completed their 200 wickets in 38 tests, and South Africa's Dale Steyn, who reached the figures in his 39th test, fill up the top 5 slots in the list. All right, we're taking a breather from cricket now. We'll be on to other sporting fields in just a bit. Stay tuned.
यार काम पर क्या फोड़ दूँ अरे हो गया क्या भाई?
2 मिनट यहाँ पे, 5 मिनट निकला, 2:30 बजे की मीटिंग, पहले ये तो हो जाए।
अरे भाई हो गया क्या?
क्या कर दिया गाड़ी को?
So your car is fixed.
थैंक यू। जानी बचा लिया था आपने।
That's okay, sir. It's my job.
काम कितना ही मुश्किल हो, संभाल ही लेती है। ये है नए भारत की नई बेटियां। बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ, महिला एवं बाल विकास मंत्रालय द्वारा जनहित में जारी।
इस घर में अंडे देने से हमें कोई नहीं रोक सकता। मैं रोक सकता हूँ।
तुम्हें पता नहीं, हमें एडीज मच्छर जो फैलाते हैं डेंगू और चिकनगुनिया।
मास्टर जी ने स्कूल में डेंगू मच्छर से बचने की सारी जानकारी दी है। अच्छा बच्चों, हमें चैलेंज जगह तो जरूर मिलेगी। नहीं मिलेगी, नहीं मिलेगी।
यहाँ तो पूरी इंतजाम है।
डेंगू की रोकथाम के लिए कूलरों के पानी को हर हफ्ते बदलें। बाल्टी और टंकियों को अच्छी तरह से ढककर रखें। पूरी आस्तीन के कपड़े पहनें। मच्छर भगाने वाली क्रीम, कॉइल और अगरबत्ती का इस्तेमाल करें।
डेंगू से लड़े मतलब डेंगू से बचे।
नमस्कार नमस्कार नमस्कार। क्या भैया?
सेप्टिक टैंक शौचालय के लिए।
सेप्टिक टैंक ये जब भर जाएगा तो कचरा कहाँ फेंकोगे? फिर से लोटा यात्रा शुरू। सुनिए, 2 गड्ढों वाले शौचालय के बारे में सुना है? नहीं सुना? आइए समझाते हैं। देखिए, 2 गड्ढा बनाइए। पहले वाला जब मल से भर जाएगा ना तो ये चालू हो जाएगा, और साल भर के अंदर इसके अंदर जो मल है ये खाद बन जाएगा। इसे खाली कर दीजिए। इसी तरह शौचालय जो है वो आजीवन चलता रहे, न बीमारी फैलेगी न बदबू।
और पैसे?
अरे वो सेप्टिक टैंक से कई गुना सस्ता। हाँ, क्या समझे?
शौचालय 2 गड्ढों वाला ही बनवाना है
और स्वच्छता को सदा अपनाना है।
Welcome back to Sports News, and time enough to get you all the action in the Hockey World Cup. Well, Spain and New Zealand get ready to battle it out in an extremely important fixture. Both the teams are likely to make it to the crossover stages as things stand, but they would not want to leave anything to chance. Spain has taken the lead through Albert Beltran in the 9th minute for the time being. Meanwhile, Argentina are safely through to the knockout stages and will secure a place as the team to directly enter the quarterfinals from their pool, whether they win or even draw against France. And the second match of the Hockey World Cup on Wednesday between Pakistan and Malaysia ended in a 1-1 draw. Malaysia dominated the early part of the match. However, it was Pakistan who scored the first goal of the match. Malaysia wasn't left too far behind as well, as they scored a goal soon after. A last-minute video referral added some drama in the ending moments, but it didn't really amount to much. And on to football now. Well, substitute Roberto Firmino scored with his first touch as Liverpool came back from behind to beat struggling Burnley 3-1 and stay in touch with leaders Manchester City in the Premier League table. Jack Cork gave the hosts a surprise lead after Alisson could not gather the ball following a corner, but Jurgen Klopp's side hit back with 3 goals. James Milner equalized with a superb low finish from the edge of the box, and Firmino, one of the 7 players left out from the side that started against Everton on Sunday, tapped home Virgil van Dijk's athletic cutback. Xherdan Shaqiri made sure of the win for Liverpool with a clinical counter-attack goal. And Manchester United extended their Premier League winless run to 4 games despite twice fighting back from a goal down to earn a 2-2 draw against Arsenal at Old Trafford. Goals from Shkodran Mustafi and Alexandra Lacazette twice gave the Gunners the lead, with Anthony Martial and Jesse Lingard responding quickly on both occasions for United. And Chelsea were made to pay heavily for missed chances as they squandered a lead to lose 2-1 at Wolves on Wednesday. Ruben Loftus-Cheek looked set to take centre stage when he marked just his second Premier League start of the season with the opening goal in the 18th minute, but 2 goals in 4 second-half minutes by Raul Jimenez and Diogo Jota brought a dramatic turnaround after the visitors had wasted several opportunities to close out the game. And that's all we have at the moment in sports news, but for all the latest, do stay tuned to DD News.